There is one constant mistake we make as players when it comes to judging games, and it is that more often than not we get fixated into a single element as to why a game can be good or bad. And while it's true that sometimes said single elements can carry a game despite its shortcomings, or in other cases bring it down badly, the core to truly appreciating a game comes from the sum of its parts, and this is especially true in RPGs. And that is what brings us here today for this review, because all the hype for The Witcher 3 can't be pinned down to just one element. It's like a multi-course meal, filled with a crazy variety of ingredients. In The Witcher 3, we play once more as Geralt of Rivia, returning to the Northern Kingdoms with one goal in mind: to find the sorceress Yennefer. From here on, a chain of events unfolds that is quite honestly too big to even list in this review. It's not just an adventure, it's a series of adventures. An odyssey if you most. And it is one where the kind of path Geralt takes, or what kind of man he can be, is entirely up to the player, giving you the sensation and the satisfaction of one true custom experience.
Shush now,
Calm.
Take care, kid.
I don't usually speak too much about the visuals in video games, but The Witcher 3 has to be one of the most beautiful games I had the pleasure to look at. This world is just a thing to behold. Some locations and structures are so fantastic, they can be legitimately breathtaking. And the best part is, the game has a healthy amount of environments, going from humble plain fields, to beautiful cities, to the magical mountain regions of Skellige. The environments in this game are just top-notch. But of course, no environment is complete if there is no life in it, and the world of The Witcher 3 is just full of life. Human settlements and cities have people going on about their lives. Conversations are had between them.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Soldiers can be seen patrolling in the territories they occupy, and while yes, some of them can have repeated dialogues, it does not detract from the experience. I can spend hours just walking around the streets, taking in the environment, feeling like I am actually there. I can listen to bards playing their songs. I can just go to the nearest dock and just enjoy the view. It is a true thing of beauty. But that doesn't take away from the more natural areas of the game. Forests, caverns, mountains, they also ooze with life, and they make for a gorgeous break from the city life. Just walking these places with my horse at my own pace can be one of the most relaxing things I can do in a video game. And the best part is, the game allows me to do this. It takes full advantage of the quiet time so many games desperately need, so you can have a break from all the action or intrigues of the plot, and it really excels at it. I dare to say, this is open world at its finest. But of course, this is not a walking simulator. This is an RPG first and foremost. We do have gameplay to speak of, and this game seriously delivers on that end. The gameplay here is not just hacking and slashing at enemies. Geralt is not just some brute. He is a witcher, a professional for hire. Before drawing the sword, he has to investigate, talk to people. He has to use his wits as much as he uses his blades. You can find yourself tracking down monsters or missing people, or having to use your own persuasion as you face other people, ready to try to get one up on Geralt.
Yeah, and it had golden scales and smoke poured out its ass like it does out of a chimney.
Just like the skulls sing it.
Or simply just gathering the most basic information as you investigate the areas that will get you to your next objective. When the time comes, however, you will get to face your enemies with your swords. While I have seen players claim the combat in this game isn't very good, I will have to argue it is the complete opposite. The combat in this game is really good, both in how you approach your battles and the enemy variety. You can face your standard bandits or enemy soldiers and each of them have different abilities and defenses depending on which kinds of groups you are facing. While you can indeed just spam the light and heavy attack buttons and just dodge around, you can also use signs, oils, and other abilities to give yourself an extra edge in battle. It's a good way to let you strategize, but of course, as it happens with a lot of open world games and RPGs, how you use them in combat is entirely up to you. To make things even better, when you're not fighting human enemies, you will fight monsters. And it can range from simple hostile creatures like drowners and escalate to more dangerous mutants to straight up fighting mythical creatures and huge opponents. Much like with the human enemies, your best way to defeat them is finding the right strategy to deal with them. Learning their attacks, figuring out their weaknesses, and keeping good management of your health makes taking down these creatures an entire adventure of its own. My favorite part in all of this is that with all those elements, the game truly opens itself for you to roleplay in it. Most of the side quests are offered to you as contracts, and as I said earlier, Geralt is a witcher, and he will work for whoever hires him. And the game gives you plenty of contracts for you to enjoy, both during the main game and after finishing the main story if you decide to focus on the main story. While opinions are subjective and this review is no exception, I still want to subjectively argue that this game really has no dull moments. Everything has a place here. Every single quest, from the main one to the side ones, feel like stories of their own. Standalone stories that can be fun little one-shots to major story arcs, and that is just brilliant.
That's everything for now. Thanks for your help. And I promise to avenge them.
This is one of the few games where doing side content actually feels intriguing and makes me want to do more just so I can see what kind of story the game is going to tell me next. And on that note, on top of letting you have your own custom experience by letting you choose freely what to do and how to do it, the game has replayability. This is one of the few games where your choices actually matter. Picking one thing over the other will open new paths and close another. Sometimes it can be within the same quest, and sometimes it can have its effects several hours later. So a second playthrough is very encouraged and very viable if you want to see the kind of things you missed out on. One more thing I don't see too often in RPGs like this is the way food is implemented. While there's not any real hunger meter to speak of, food is in fact one of the main ways you can heal in this game. Early on you can find yourself budgeting for food and making sure you get the right supplies before tackling a major quest. And while some of the food has a very short timed healing effect, you can thankfully unlock an ability early on that will let the healing last longer. You cannot take it for granted though, as you can still get overwhelmed by enemies if you're not careful. But overall, I do appreciate how I actually came to care about the food in this game. Never underestimate the power of a dumpling. All in all, The Witcher 3 is what I will dare to call a perfect gaming experience. The characters are beautifully voice acted, the writing is really good, and overall the gameplay loop is just superb. My only real regret is not getting into the series a lot earlier, because while I tried the first game, its age was really showing. But at least I am glad 3 turned out to be very accessible to newcomers, and it is also loaded with a lot of extra info to give you a good context behind everything. And that is why I am more than happy to give The Witcher 3 a perfect 10 out of 10. This is a game that deserves all the praise it gets, but don't expect to love it right away, because as it happens with many RPGs, you only begin to truly appreciate the experience the more you invest the time into it.